Mary Jane Watson is that girl. Has been, will be, still will be, always has been, and will always remain to be that girl. Recently, the Sam Raimi movies got back in theaters, and watching those movies really made me think why I love Mary Jane Watson as a character. And it also kind of wanted me to go forward with an idea and a new little segment I'd like to call
Who's that? Who is it?
Who is it?
Who is it? Who is it?
Who is it? Who is it?
Yes, that's right, folks. We're going to be sitting here talking about who is that character, giving you a couple different facts to really satiate your hunger. So next time when you're at a party, or if you want to be a nerd or a know-it-all, just be like, I know who the fuck that is. Okay, so before we start, I just want to say, hey, I'm Damon, host of Super Saturdays, a comic book media podcast, where each episode I am joined by a guest, and we just, sit here, talk that shit. No, we sit here and we just rank comic book media by its story, impact, and visuals, and answer the question of, will it stand the test of time? Anyways, I feel like one of the misconceptions that really people get about Miss Mary Jane Watson is that they just don't like her. Like, they think that she's whiny, they think that she's weak, they think all these different things about her, when in actuality, that's not really the case. To prove this point, I'm going to say a couple of different things about her. We're going to be referring to Spider-Man Parallel Lives. We're going to be referring to Damon insert issue right here because I forgot the name of the issue. And for the sake of time, you guys know I'm not really one to do long-standing videos. I don't do long-standing videos if it's not a podcast episode. So, without further ado, let's start this first episode of Who Is It? Introduced in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man number 25 in June 1965, Mary Jane was a character introduced as a means to not only tie up a dangling plot thread from the Ditko era, but she was introduced as a way to breathe a then contemporary life into the pages of Spider-Man. She was shown as a fun, flashy, hip, confident, free-spirited party girl who would go and shake up the world of the wall crawler. Mary Jane was first mentioned 10 issues prior to her first appearance, where we see Aunt May trying to set up her nephew with her friend's niece, only for Peter to avoid the idea due to her...
This wonderful personality?
his shallow ass. But until finally, he comes face to face with Mary Jane as she says the now classic lines.
Mary Jane Watson?
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot.
During their first meeting, their fun is interrupted by the Rhino's rampage. Before Peter can come up with an excuse to leave, Mary Jane suggests that they head to town to see the Rhino.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Once there, Pete slips away and, does his thing, with Mary Jane just waiting on the sidelines and just enjoying the vibes. At the end of the issue, Peter drops MJ off to her apartment and rides off on his motorbike, amazed just like the readers. But wait right there, MJ didn't become the love interest. That went to Gwen Stacy, mainly due to Stan preferring Gwen Stacy. Here's some words from the late, great John Romita Sr. Mary Jane's first appearance made an immediate impact. We got a lot of mail from the Vans because they wanted her to be Peter's girlfriend. Stan preferred Gwen Stacy. Stan started using Mary Jane to make Gwen jealous of Peter. In other words, Gwen never would have noticed Peter if Mary Jane hadn't started throwing herself at him. Stan decided to fool the readers and make Gwen the girlfriend. I kept trying to make Gwen look more glamorous. I even gave her Mary Jane's hairstyle at one point, and I used to beg the colorist not to put any yellow in her hair. I wanted her to be a platinum blonde, but it didn't matter. No matter what Stan and I did, the fans always liked Mary Jane better. For a few years prior to Gwen's death, MJ became a part of the friend group. She hung out with them at the Coffee Bean. They went go-go dancing, all the other type of stuff. She even was a go-go dancer. She even dated Harry Osborn, similarly to the movies. But he couldn't tie her down. Mary Jane was just there for fun. That was it. She didn't want to be tied down in a relationship. She didn't want to have to answer to anything or anyone. Her characterization was shown to be someone who didn't take a lot of things seriously. She also was shown to be kind of flaky. In spite of her characterization being a little one-note at times in the early days, fans still gravitated to her. So after the death of Gwen Stacy, we started to see the beginnings of depth added to MJ's character. Instead of her running away from mourning the loss of her friend, she stays. That then turns into a slow burn of MJ and Peter as friends to lovers, where we got to see even more depth of Mary Jane, but not without some regression. But that regression would later turn into one of the best retcons / character developments of all time. And notice how I said one of. I know there's a lot more other ones, but this one personally is one of my favorites. As I said, their friendship turns into a relationship, where Peter unexpectedly pops the question to Mary Jane out of a Cracker Jack box. Or was the first time the Cracker Jack box, or was it the second time? But nonetheless, Peter, he pops the question to Mary Jane. Her being taken off guard and still weary about the idea of marriage, she does the logical thing. She says no. She books a job out of New York to do her thing, because, you know, model / actress. And this leads to her not being in the book for a few years. But in her last appearance, we got to see like a little glimmer of her origin in a thought bubble before she leaves, where she compares the idea to marriage to a tragedy, like Betty Brant and Ned Leeds, and like her parents. About 40 issues later, Mary Jane makes quite the entrance in one of my favorite issues from the Stern era. After Peter gets swept up into his rival's relationship drama, Mary Jane ends up making the most unexpected return with the green pantsuit on and the necktie and shit.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
You know, in my headcanon, I'd like to say that Zendaya was inspired by this look during her press tour for Spider-Man Far From Home. But as Mary Jane walks in, she reintroduces herself not only to Peter and his guest, but to the reader.
I'm Mary Jane Watson. Have I let myself in at the wrong time, Petey?
As the page says at the bottom, needless to say, to be continued. That's right, folks. We are doing a 2-parter or 3-parter. I'm not really sure. But, you know, let me know your thoughts on this video. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. And also, let me know, do you like Mary Jane? Are you a Spidey fan? Did you know this stuff about Mary Jane? Be sure to let me know in the comments. You know, before we go though, I want to make a little announcement, a little thank you to the soups out there who've been listening and following and who's been on the ride, and even some of the new subscribers and new followers on the socials. I want to do a little giveaway to show my appreciation. And stay tuned for updates in what that's going to entail. And as always, see you soon, soups.